Aloha, friends and neighbors. Welcome to show 1065. This is Rollin Frost, Conan Astrologer. We're going to go through the first week in May. For your information, Mercury goes forward on May 3rd. It's sitting right on Uranus as it goes forward. There's likely to be some new, unusual information come out. Hopefully we'll all have a feeling of what it's like to be homeless and try to do something about it, because it conjuncts Uranus and trines Saturn. Constructive stuff could be done. Well, this is kind of a sober show because I'm back here on the 14th. The USA just dropped a bunker bomb. I hear everybody's talking about war, so I'm going to do some war stuff. But first I want to go through the sky mirror for you so that you may get a handle on what's coming up for the week. And then we're going to try to get a handle on what's coming up for the U.S. government and the military. And in the same way, knowing more about what's coming up allows you to adjust your attitude, your free will, and make things a little more fun, a little more easy, a little less scary. So, I got a chart for you. This is set up for this first week in May. The sun's in Taurus. It's going through Taurus, the first part of Taurus, from 8 to 18 degrees. Now it's going to trine Pluto on the next day, Monday the 8th. And there should be new information coming through. Pluto, you might remember, just stationed about a week ago for you. And so everybody was investigating, and Pluto has to do with a lot of stuff. The shark bites, the bombers are there, the terror. It has to do with your reptile brain. Everybody gets a little chance to go, eek, a bug, as the reptile brain kicks in with flight or fight in a little panic. PTSD is a virus, folks. It goes away after 3, 6, or 9 months. Tell your friends. Anyway, you had your Pluto was real strong for you about 10 days ago, and it's still a little bit strong. So look out, some stuff bites. Even though by next Monday on the 8th, you'll be able to enjoy the attention of a little biter of some kind, maybe. I've been working on what it is that we breed into animals to keep them from biting. I mean, whenever we're breeding dogs, we're breeding horses, we're breeding cows, pigs, ravens. We breed out the biters, don't we? So the alala is a much more comfortable pet than the common raven on the mainland, which is a little rascal and a warrior and harasses hawks and eagles and pecks on your head, and they say don't keep one if you got kids around. So we weed out the biters by selective breeding. Anyway, we're talking Mars here, the biters, and I'm going to talk a lot more about Mars soon, but let's take a look at it day by day for you. There was a new moon back here on Wednesday at 7 degrees of Taurus. Pretty good new moon. It doesn't make angles to a lot of things. It doesn't have a lot of drama in it. Kind of says give up on the Mars and the fighting. I wish it weren't so hot. As you get into Thursday night, the moon's in early Gemini, and here's a nice sextile to Venus. Oh boy, some goodies, some sweets. And here is Mars. You're in the Mars zone. The moon hits Mars late Thursday night. Venus is in sextile. Mars goes out all horny, and Venus, she's pretty much, accommodating. It's going to be romantic and sexy, folks, Thursday night. Probably on into Friday morning a bit. To get to noontime, the moon's still in Gemini here, but makes a square to Neptune. And that is not comfortable. That means there's confusion. There's delusion. Yeah. It happens in the middle of the day, but an hour or 2 or 3 after it happens, there's a trine to Jupiter, and you say, oh, now I see Now I see it clearly. Now I understand. So you got to get by your confusion through the first half of Friday to get to the aha period, which could be quite nice. You go into Saturday, the moon's still in Gemini. In the morning, makes a nice sextile to Uranus and Mercury. And there's some really inventive, new, revolutionary communications going on here. You could get high on Buddhism and astrology and find out that there's a lot more to the world than so-called science has taught us. Go to the Bosnia pyramids. Whoa, new stuff is going on there. Amazing stuff. So your amazement will be there through the morning, and then at the middle of the day, just after the amazement by 2-3 hours, eek. Here's an opposition to Saturn. Close it down. You don't have time, you don't have money. That's against the rules, can't do that. Bummer Saturday. As you go into the afternoon and early evening, here's a square to Venus. There's no fun. There's no sweets. There's no love. Saturn turned into a Grinch after that early morning enlightenment. That's what Saturday's like. Sunday the 30th starts with bells and religion, art, music. We all believe in this. It looks beautiful. Great time for go church. If you go to church, go Sunday. Find some place with music. Or go sit under a tree and play some music. Or just hum to yourself. Go out and listen to the birds. Sunday is a really neat day. Here's the sun making a sextile to Neptune. Jesus, the priest, artist, doctor. It's a good time to be in harmony with that. Now you'll overdo it as you get to Saturday or Sunday afternoon, because here's a square to Jupiter. Too much, too loud. By the time you get to Sunday night, this is midnight or 1 a.m. Here's the opposition to Pluto. And is that a siren I hear? Eek, a bug. Go out in your house in the middle of the night. You don't tell what you'll see. Pluto's still pretty active here Sunday night. I've already had my share of bugs. I'm sure I got more coming. On Monday, the moon's in Cancer. All this stuff is in the sign of Cancer, by the way, from the religious enlightenment of Sunday morning through the panicky stuff. And here's the jitters on Monday night. The power went out. Can't communicate. I feel isolated. The moon slips into Leo and doesn't do too much good. Till late Monday night, here's finally a trine to Venus. We can relax and get some sleep. And Tuesday morning, well, here's a nice Mars hit. We're out there being heroes, a sextile to Mars in Gemini. Can do lots of things at once on Tuesday morning. Get out there and do it, quick. In the afternoon, though, the moon squares the sun, and some of our plans aren't working out, and we lose some ambition. That's okay. New ideas come up Tuesday night after dinner with the sextile to Jupiter. Moon still in Leo. On Wednesday, the 3rd, the moon's still in Leo and makes wonderful trines to Uranus and Mercury and Saturn. Good plans, revolutionary, new ideas. This is Aquarian time, and they're solid and practical and making money. I saw Gore on a clip on YouTube, and he said, it doesn't matter what these politicians do. Solar's now cheaper than all the rest of the power. China's leading it. It's just going to go that way because of money. Aha, common sense clicks in. It's not something we have to battle over. It'll just happen. Okay, moon shifts into Virgo on Thursday, the 4th. And there's a lot more energy here in Virgo. There's a square to Mars Thursday night around dinner time. A little impatience and angriness. Ask yourself what you're protecting, or you fly off the handle. A lot of confusion here about midnight, 1 a.m. Thursday night. People drinking? What is that? Bad smells. Whatever it is, you'll feel a little better Friday on the 5th. The moon's still in Virgo, makes a nice trine to the sun. Makes in the morning early, get up and go for it. Follow your plans. Before lunch, there's a trine to Pluto. We got the power. It's all working great. It does feel that way, doesn't it? Right through till Saturday on the 6th of May, which starts slow. Here's a square to Saturn. Ugh. It's cold. I don't think I want to go out. If you get up your courage by Saturday afternoon, there's the opposition to Venus. The girls aren't there. There's no pleasure. There's no sweets. You should have stayed home like you thought this morning, Saturday the 6th. Sunday on the 7th, it's very different. You're in the Jupiter zone. The moon's going by Jupiter here just about lunchtime. Before it does, it makes a nice trine to Mars. We're out doing physical stuff. The heroes are here. And then the lawyers speak up, and the ACLU is going to protect our world and the species. Or something. Feels pretty good in the middle of Sunday. But then, look at that. Here's a square to Pluto. There's sirens. Eek, a bug. Still got a little energy on that. The military, the bombs, feel like alarm bells are going off 9, 10, 11 o'clock Sunday night the 7th. Feel a little isolated. Maybe the power's down or something on Monday the 8th. So don't figure your plans are just going to come through. Leave early that Monday. Okay, before I get into the coming war games, I'm going to call it. You know that my website has some blogs on it now, stuff like I tell people all the time, don't want to keep repeating it. You know, and sometimes they're 15 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. Go to my website, skymirrorastrology.com/TV, and up on the top left you'll see a button. Click on that, and instead of all the shows that you can go back and review on the right side, you'll see various blogs like my work on Konani. You know, there's a 30-minute video that took me 5 years. Other stuff too. Now this is going to be on there. I got to correct this. Speaking of Pluto, I just found that there's another incoming. You know, talking about April 13th, but there's another 1999 AN10 comes in August 8th, 2027. 2 years before that, and it's 3 times the size of April 13th, and they're whizzing by. And so I went and looked at the ephemeris, and sure enough, people were all scared before it happened. And so, you know, I'm thinking about it. I probably gave you the wrong impression, and I was maybe a little confused myself, thinking, gee, it's got to be important. Okay, so here's what I put on the blog. Here comes the asteroid. You know, and what happens is, if it's coming too close, you know, all the world's going to shoot nukes at it and try to nudge it off this way or the other. And that could result in a whole bunch of small pieces coming in, hopefully over the ocean, like throwing gravel in your bathtub. Won't disturb people much, but still, people won't know what's going to happen. The other thing is, besides small gravel coming in, which could be deflected hits, even tiny pieces, maybe all the stuff goes off this direction and just a couple little things come. We don't know. Maybe the deflection will work good, and this thing is not going to come in and hit or deflect. It's going to miss us by a. But those are all reasons why people are scared. You understand? Because I said, "Oh my goodness, these people are scared," just means they're real, and they don't quite know the outcome until after it happens. So 2 good reasons, other than some disaster. They're not big enough to be planet killers or species killers, okay? You know, 100 feet, 3,000, or 1,000 feet wide, 3,000 feet wide. But they're big enough for us to get at. And so 2 good reasons why the people are scared and they don't hit and they go by. One is, you know, they're still concerned that it's, even if it goes by over here and it's way up there 1,000 miles from Earth, people will worry about the effects on the weather and stuff, and they won't be done worrying until a day or 2 afterwards. And that's what I found on the charts. So I don't want to interpret this worry trip to a massive big bummer. No. That's why the title of the blog and this thing I just did for you is Frightening Asteroids. These are not damaging necessarily. They may not even hit. They're just frightening everybody. Scary, huh? Oh boy. Deplorable. One of the things about Pluto, they're a reptile mind. Reptiles are very territorial. Watch the geckos run around in your house. You know, all the reptiles, territory is a big thing. So when Pluto stops in the sky, as it did for you a week ago, everybody gets territorial. That's the reason so many things bite. The shark bites, the dog bites, you know, the criminal bites, the cop bites, the military, everybody bites. But this particular territoriality really sticks in my craw. Because this happened in Hawaii, where we're supposed to be more democratic and liberal. The House of Representatives approved a bill to make it a crime to trespass on all state lands. What is that? State lands means the lands the state owns. They belong to us. Something, you know, shame on you guys. How could you do such a thing? This is one of the stupidest things. I've seen some dumb things done by Hawaii lawmakers. Some really dumb things. And the judges, you know. But, you know, this one kind of tops it. Well, whoever took all the goods away from all the homeless people, we're just cleaning up the place, oh yeah. This is just as heartless and stupid and cruel. And you guys in the legislature should be ashamed of yourselves. Shame, shame, shame. Okay, here we go. Now, I started off putting this on a small chart. Attack on the U.S. military. This is, you could say, a war, but it's not like 9/11, where they're attacking the homeland. This is an attack on the USA Mars, which is the military organizations. And it starts, you know, with small stuff. There's 3 or 4, 5, 6 indicators of what's going on here. And that's what it's like. You see, there's a window here. It's this big. Here's another window here. Some are transits, some are lunations, some are progressions. And here's the short list. The biggest thing is that Saturn comes back and stops. Transiting Saturn comes back and stops at the end of August at 21 degrees in the 7th house of the U.S. chart and opposes Mars. And Saturn's going to come along and teach our military a lesson. You know, I mean, we're running around here with these big aircraft carriers that cost zillions and trillions. And here's this Iranian guy says, I got a little torpedo goes 3 times the speed of sound. You can't stop it. Come on. Anyway, here's the small one. There's a full moon, June 9th. That full moon is at 19 Sag, opposes the Mars for a month. Here we got lunatics opposing our Mars, saying, what the hell is your military doing? Ladies, too. Yeah. And then finally, the progressed moon hits the opposition to Mars July 15th, and then squares Neptune August 7th. So here's another window where there's fighting, there's confusion. Did he say weapons of mass destruction? Whew. The really big thing is when the progressed descendant opposes Mars and then goes on to square Neptune. Well, it opposes Mars March 14th, 2018, next year. Now, this isn't going to be a one-day hit. A progressed rising sign or midheaven or ascendant, these things only move 1 degree a year. So you'll feel them 6 months before, and then they peak out and go down another 6 months. So we're talking about a whole year here of this big major progression on Mars. So transiting Saturn sets it off like a trigger. You know, there's a long-term thing going on. There's short-term things going on. And that's the executive summary. Now, I knew I didn't organize this very well, so I decided to do better. Okay, first we go to the USA government chart. This is not the government of this is not the chart of the mountains and the lakes and the streams. This is the chart of the government, like a corporation. They made themselves with a chart called the Declaration of Independence. Now, it turns out that the last guy signed that 2 a.m. in the morning, July 5th. I had to do a lot of research, and after 9/11, I nailed it down. I used that to rectify it. So I know this chart works. On top of that, I have spread the chart across the U.S. ground, and it turns up, wow, Uranus through New York, Pluto through New Orleans, Neptune through the West Coast, Venus through near Las Vegas. Oh boy. So, you know, it works on the ground and everywhere. So I got a lot of confidence in this chart. Now, when you look at the USA chart, that's the one in the center here. What you see is Mars. First of all, it's Gemini rising. We got 2 Geminis now in office. Yes, both of them have the sun in Gemini. And Mars in Gemini here in the first house. Uranus in Gemini rules the 10th. So normally we're the freedom-loving environmentalists. But that gets put off because of a seesaw to Jupiter here and the sun and Venus. All the money, money, money. You know, so we go back and forth. We go in 30-year cycles, in fact. But go back to Mars. Mars is the warrior. And Gemini. As this reminds me of the Hornet. Reminds me of the way we fight. We fight like a Gemini, like Fred Astaire or Laurel out of Laurel and Hardy. Like birds. You think about it, and I have studied war, I'm a veteran. The way this U.S. fights is we get up in the air and we bomb the hell out of them. You know, we turned Europe into a pile of rocks with carpet bombing, and then we burnt down every city in Japan with atom bombs finally. So what we do is we get up there and bomb them. We just did it again with the bunker buster. You know, they hit in Afghanistan. Going to try to get some of the dudes down in the caves. Oh boy. So, you know, we're really good at this. Yes, we're very professional hornets. They got a mean sting. And that's how we got all these aircraft carriers with all these fighters and things up in the air. And we've been carrying out wars now for some time with not too many casualties. And now we got drones. That's another Mars in Gemini. So, you know, there we are up in the air sign of Gemini, going back and forth, moving fast like a hummingbird. And that's the way we do our Mars. Okay, so what happens now is Mars has this square to Pluto. See the little red, square to Neptune. What does Neptune do? Confuses Mars and says, hey, you should be fighting this or fighting that, and you should be protecting this. Who's Neptune? Neptune is liquids, drugs, oil, religion, a bunch of organizations of special people, Neptune, corporations, Monsanto. So these guys, they get overprotected. They're holding on to Mars. The military will take care of us. You know, and lots of times when we go off doing our angry fighting trip, we're confused. What do we do? Well, there's a lot. Mass destruction weapons, and it was a lie. If you go back, most of the wars we've got into begin with lies, including stuff, I won't get into it. You gotta get into history. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm tracking a lot of happenings on Mars. The first thing that you're going to notice is I got 2 other charts here. Let me explain them. The second chart around the edge, those are the progressions. They move very slowly, based on a year for a day. If this guy's 50 years old, this is where the planets are 50 days after he was born. Outside in the third circle are the transiting planets. These are the planets in the sky. You get the positions out of an ephemeris like this. And they're almost like the minute hand on the clock. Progressions are the hour hand, transits are the minute hand. So, transiting Mars is kind of like a trigger. He goes all the way around in 2.5 years. Right now he's up here in the 12th house at 19 Taurus, but by the time you get to May 22nd, Mars comes down and hits Mars and energizes him. And the hornets are all pissed off. Look out, don't get in their way. They'll bite. May 22nd. Plus or minus a day, Mars is always right on time like Saturn. Okay, next is a full moon. It happens on June 9th. It happens at 19 degrees of Sagittarius, which opposes the U.S. Mars. Now, full moons make lunacy. Here's lunatic faces, people, the public, big round-faced people like head of North Korea and stuff, moon-faced. People are angry at our Mars. This goes on for a month, from June 9th to July 7th. It's a month of warnings about which people we might really have to fight physically if we hadn't already learned about it. So this is a major influence, but it just lasts a month and then it's over, huh? The 7th house of partners. Progress moon and progress rising sign, both there. When in 9/11 happened, this progressed ascendant was here, opposed the rising sign, the body. Now it's opposing Mars, the military. So what happens here? Well, progressions are going to hit too. After transiting, Saturn hits August 1st and opposes Mars, stops and goes forward September 17th, another war period, huh? Progress moon opposes Mars July 15th. We're going to know who's going to fight with us. And finally, major progressions of the progressed ascendant, happen next 2018 mostly. But, March 14th could happen even a year earlier. So there's a lot of timing here. A lot of timing. If I had to pick a time you won't be able to ignore, it'll be the last week in August, which is when the eclipse goes across the USA, and one that hits Mr. Trump, in a difficult way too. Who let the dogs out? Mars is dogs, Trump said today, did you authorize the big bunker bomb? He said, no, I just let the military, let the decisions be made by the military guys. They're great guys. So Trump has unleashed the military. They got a lot of toys to play with. You can be sure they're going to be out there playing with them. And they're more than ready to irritate some people and fight. The U.S. has got these moods. It's like a bully. Got there strutting around looking for a fight. That's the way the military is. We got bases in 100 countries. We got as much money into our military as the rest of the world put together. But look out. A lot of people don't like us over global warming here. Yeah, so we got incoming stuff, and it's at the military. It's not at you. Write it down now. SkyMirrorAstrology.com/TV. Get the website, and you can review a little fuller thing about the coming war games, I call it. Huh? Now remember, this is the military, not you.